Hello and welcome to the Trophy Trust, our weekly podcast for PlayStation Trophy Hunters. I'm one of your hosts, Adazil, and this evening joining me we have Punish,
Hey guys, how are we doing?
excellent, and we also have with us Claire.
Hey everyone, how you doing?
Awesome. Okay, guys, how you guys doing? How's it been for you this week with gaming?
Yeah, for me, it's been very, very good, very active. Got a few more
You've been,
trophies.
yeah, I've been seeing you've been pretty active recently. You've put a lot of time into some big games
Yeah,
previously, but it seems that you're loosening up now, got a few more going.
yeah, I think I've made good progress over the last few weeks, and this week in particular. So I think I did well.
Cool. We'll come back to that in just a second. And Punish, how are you doing this week with gaming? Keeping it casual or being hardcore?
No, being hardcore, I've been trying to knock out Persona 4, so I've been playing that continuously since I picked it up last week. I've already put in like 75, 80 hours
Wow,
in the past seven days.
Wow.
So
that's the
That
type of
is
game that doesn't end after 70 or 80 hours, right? I mean, that's like halfway
yeah,
through.
exactly. Well, I'm trying to get through the first playthrough so I can start on the second one and complete the compendium and defeat the big boss at the end. So
Gotcha.
Okay, cool. Well, let's just go straight into what we've been playing this week. Actually, Punish, you might as well just start off anyway, since you're on a roll about Persona.
yeah, like I said, I've been playing a lot of Persona 4. I've been trying to speed through the main story. I mean, I've played it before in the past, but I'm trying. I got if anybody's ever played the game, I've got down. What is it called? I got all the social attributes taken care of. I got all the smaller trophies taken care of, like catching the big fish and reading all the books and things like that. Now it's just finishing up and starting the second playthrough. That way I can finish the compendium and I could beat the boss that's only available in the New Game Plus.
Grinding away.
Yeah, I can't say
exactly.
I've ever really been interested in the Persona games, and I know they're really, really popular. I know the last two, the most recent one, and the one that was on the Golden
5.
on Vita.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Golden, like Persona 4 Golden on Vita, it has such a huge following, like in recent years, and
Massive.
can't say I've ever had interest. It's always been really cheap on PSN, like for PS Vita, in the last few years, as the Vita sees like a steady decline into the abyss. But never really been interested in it. I think it's just because of the sheer amount of time you have to put into it. And when it comes to Vita games, they're kind of like shorter experiences on the handheld, so it's never really kind of piqued my interest. Although there's nothing to say about the quality of the game. I haven't played it, but a lot of people seem to love those games, so I'm sure they're great games. But,
Yeah, I'm a really, really big fan of it because it is very story driven, and it's very character driven. So you get to there's a lot of backstory with a lot of the characters, and even the side characters where you don't have a lot of interaction with. There's so many small facets of the game that just makes it that much more enjoyable. It's kind of like the Final Fantasy series, but just taking it kind of like to a whole new level. And it's just not the gameplay; it's the music, the cinematics. I mean, everything makes the game enjoyable.
Sounds like something I'd probably be interested in, but I've never actually went through it. Because, like I said, I'm a big Final Fantasy, and I love Final Fantasy for those reasons, like you just said, like the music, the set, and the atmosphere, cinematic stuff like that. So I might give it a crack, but I just know that they're so daunting, and I don't know where to start. So I don't even know if I'll
Right.
like
Well,
it.
I mean, I would definitely. I mean, with not just with Persona 4 Golden, but with Persona 5, it's absolutely amazing. I mean, if you're really like, I know you're really big in the Final Fantasy games, like I am. The turn-based strategy, and then there's so much more to the battle system because there's your main character can change out his personas. So you can change your character from, like, just as an example, you can change him from strength based to a magic base in an instant, right there in the middle of the battle. And the boss fights, I mean, you're going to have to constantly evolve per boss fight just because of those strengths and those attributes.
Yeah, well, a lot of people say that it's nearly the game of the year, essentially, or it's definitely up there in the consideration for it. I mean, a lot of people have said that is the best RPG they've ever played as well. So I think it probably deserves a run through. Then I might pick it up, hopefully in a sale, maybe.
Yeah,
Okay.
definitely.
Punish, is there anything else you've been playing, or is it that's just where all your time's been going?
No, I did. I can't remember the name of the game. I knocked out the platinum in like 25 minutes. It's the sound game on the Vita.
Sound
I
chips.
won't lie. Yeah. I use the sound. I use the exploit too.
There's an exploit.
And I was like, yeah, there's if you go into the time trial or whatever it is, and you can like the second you start the time trial and you continuously mash the X button, it automatically gives you all the trophies for the time run.
No, that's not sound chips. That's some other stupid game.
That's energy cycle, isn't it?
Energy cycle. Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've all tried that game. We've all used that exploit on the Discord server.
Me too.
Very easy.
Yeah. I've had it on my backlog for months now, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to take a break from Persona for like an hour, and I'm just going to get this knocked out.
Yeah. It's very easy. I think that exploit is like, exploit, I think they put it in there,
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I think people know
exactly.
people's knowledge of that exploit, or I mean, like the infamy of that exploit, is definitely lined their pockets, the developers' pockets, a little bit.
Yeah, well, when 94% of people have the damn platinum, definitely.
Yeah.
Okay then. Well, Claire, let's go with you next then. What's your recent? What's been on the menu for your gaming recently?
Well, pretty much exactly what I was talking about in the last podcast last week. I was doing Destiny 2. I finally finished that up. Actually, I did manage to get a group together, and I did the raid and the Prestige Nightfall, and I got my platinum. So Destiny 2.
Yeah, I saw that. Well done, by the way.
Yeah, congratulations, man.
Yeah, thanks. It was pretty good. It's definitely 100 times easier than the Destiny 1 platinum, but it's still a really good thing. Like, I really like shooters and those online kind of stuff, so as long as it's not too much of a chore. But like, so many people play it, and we have our own group within Discord, and it was priceless. He got me in touch with a friend of his, and we did the Prestige Nightfall, so it was because of people in our group that I basically got to platinum, so I'm really happy. And then last week on the episode, I was speaking about the South Park game, just a little bit about, because the trophy list had just been released, and I just went over a little bit about it, and that actually really got me the urge that I really wanted to play it. So I actually went ahead and I did pre-order the Fractured Butthole. I'm going to be able to play that next week, so I'm going to have some thoughts on it in future podcast episodes. But as of course, when you pre-order that, by the way, the game is out in the 17th, so if you're going to pre-order it, you'll need to do it fairly quickly. But you get the Stick of Truth as a pre-order bonus, and I platinumed that in like 2 days in one playthrough. Well, I already had a platinum on PlayStation 3. I really love the game. It's a fantastic game. It's really enjoyable and funny. That's basically it. I did South Park and I did Destiny 2.
Just before we started recording, we were talking. Me and Claire were talking about the Stick of Truth on it being behind the pre-order for Fractured Butthole, and I think it's a little bit crappy, because I'm not a real fan of pre-ordering games, just because I play games when I kind of feel in the mood for those particular games. So pre-ordering them, I just buy them when I'm ready. So I don't really pre-order. Yeah. But anyway, my point is, if they just put it on PSN, on PS4, just as a regular game to buy, I probably would have paid like £15-20 for it, like straight up. And played it again, because it's such a great game, and I really enjoyed it on PS3, and I platinumed it on PS3, and I would definitely want to play it again. But I just don't want to pre-order a game I'm not in the mood to play right now, like when it comes out, because I've got other games to play first. I've got backlog, and we've got Wolfenstein's coming out at the end of the month. I've also got Mario coming out on Switch as well. I have to be in the right kind of frame of mind for it.
Yeah, that's for you. For me, like I said, when I played it last week, I really wanted to play the Stick of Truth, and like you said, I would have, even after the game was delayed, I would have thought that it would come to the store, and a lot of people could actually just go and buy it, but that didn't turn out to be the case. Now, you were saying that you'd pay like £20, so that's like €25 for me, whereas that's not too far off like the full price of the Fractured Butthole game. So to me, it's kind of like getting two games for the price of one. That's how I justify paying for a full price digital game. Anyway, but
I felt the same way, because I pre-ordered it the same way. Yep.
Yeah, but like the way I have my digital system is that I am able to get like a card through like my phone credit, so I get like €20 PlayStation credit like every single month, so I let it build up, so I don't really feel like I'm actually spending my own money, if you understand. So I buy a lot,
Yeah, I
of digital.
understand.
I buy a lot
I
of digital content then. So
I get the idea that obviously it's an incentive to pre-order the new game, but I think that, as I said to you, Claire, before we started recording, that um, if they had put it around the £15 or whatever mark, for the kind of like digital PSN tier price point, I think they would have probably made loads of money out of it anyway. Because as I was saying before, not just trophy hunters, but people who have never played the game at all, or
well,
played it just last year and want to play it again.
yeah,
That I think they would have made more money if they sold it separately. But
it will be
it's one of
sold
them.
separately, I think, afterwards. But also, I was looking on PlayStation profiles, and like 8,000 people have it. Well, that's only the 8,000 accounts that are registered to PlayStation profiles. So I mean, like that's at least 10,000, I would say, 10,000 people who pre-ordered it, so and got the game and played it, so I think it's definitely an incentive that works. I mean, well, I did it, so
Yeah, it's just it's kind of weird, isn't it? It's like almost like a hidden game on PSN, because
yeah, you
you
can then
don't see.
search
There's
for it.
no
Yeah,
signage for it or anything like that. No point of sale. It's just hidden behind the pre-order. So I often forget that it's actually on there. So when I see people playing it or talking about it or posting screenshots, it takes me a moment to realize, oh yeah, it is actually on PS4. But of course, you need the pre-order
yeah.
for it. But
Well, to be honest, it's actually my birthday just the day before the game actually comes out, so I did it as a little kind of treat to myself. So I'm really looking forward to playing that. Like, 'cause there's some
you
other
got
games I'm not gonna play. Like, I'm not picking up like Assassin's Creed, and there's a few other stuff I'm not picking up that I'm gonna let come down in a drop and all that. But I don't know. I just felt like I'd really enjoy playing this game. Both two of the games, really. That's my main reason why I wanted to buy it. Two of the games.
all right then. Okay, well that's everything you've been playing recently. I suppose it's just me left. I have been playing Mactooth, and to be honest, Claire, this is actually a little bit of your doing because I saw that you had recently been playing it and platinumed it, and that actually piqued my interest a little bit more in it. Initially, I had no interest in it at all. I didn't play the first one, had no interest in the first one,
Yeah.
and after playing like quite a lot of VR a few weeks ago, I didn't really know where I'd sort of was in terms of what I was feeling for gaming afterwards. I didn't know what to play. I still have Bioshock Infinite to play in my backlog. The first Jack and Daxter game that came with Uncharted Lost Legacy pre-order, and I've got a few other things here and there. But I didn't really fancy playing any of that, so I went to my local game shop, and had a stroll round. And I was flicking through all the cases and thinking, oh, there's nothing here that really interests me. And then I saw Knack 2, and I was like, you know what? Claire's recently played this, and he seems to have had a good time with it. And no one's really talking about it on Twitter, but I like 3D platformers. That's what I grew up playing, so I thought I'd give it a go. I had quite a bit of store credit saved up from a few trade-ins over the last couple of months, and I gave it a go, and I really like it. I'm really enjoying it. It's really long though. Like, it's way longer
Really
than I
long.
thought it was going to be.
15 chapters. Really long.
Yeah, 15. I thought it was. I read it was 12 somewhere, but 15. Wow, I'm only up to like 9. It's just that probably at the moment.
I hope you started on hard. Did you?
Yeah. Of course I did. Of course I did. I read the guide.
Yeah.
That game is really long, and the pacing is okay. It's not great, and the levels are a little bit samey. It does feel like I've been doing the same kind of level over and over. But I'm actually pretty surprised. The combat's pretty decent. It does take a bit of thinking, especially on hard mode. It's not just button mashing. You actually have to do a bit of like you have to anticipate really. Firstly, the type of enemy that's coming into the sort of arena that you're in, because that's the way the combat kind of works. You kind of explore the areas, do a bit of platforming, and then you find yourself in a kind of round area every so often, and you know a big fight's coming. And you have to. There's quite a lot of different enemy types, but as you progress through the game, you get loads of different new abilities, like being able to like grapple and reach and pull enemies in, like a really super punch and a boomerang, and all kinds of little kind of gadgets and stuff to use, which makes it easier to play. And I quite, like I said, I like the combat. It's fun. The platforming's decent.
It's just sad it's become a meme now at this stage for bad games. The first one maybe I've earned it. I didn't really like the first one. It also there's a hell of a grind on the first one as well. Total RNG grind. But the second one fixed a lot of them. It's very, very easy, and you
2
probably,
is not a bad game at all. Not by a long shot. It's a
very
very
good.
well made game. It's
If
fantastic.
you like
And
platformers, it's worth playing.
oh yeah, when I was playing it and playing some of the sort of more side-scrolling kind of camera orientation moments, I was getting real vibes of like Crash Bandicoot, some Ratchet and Clank in there, some Jack and Daxter as well. It's kind of like an amalgamation of a lot of 90s to early 2000s mascot platformers. That's the vibe I'm getting from it, and I really like it. And it's really impressive to look at as well, especially on Pro with a 4K TV with like HDR on. Like HDR isn't like mind blowing. It just the colors just kind of pop a little bit more, and I never get tired of seeing that just like fall apart into 1,000 pieces and then like rebuild himself like in a flash. Like it's just so impressive. Like on a technical scale, all the little individual particles are rearranging themselves.
It's crazy.
But yeah, it is a good game, and I will obviously I'm going to platinum it. It's going on what I've played so far. I'm over halfway. I'd say it's pretty straightforward platinum. Although there are some tricky bits in hard mode. There are a few fights that you are quite outnumbered, but nothing where I'm like throwing a controller or anything. Just a bit of trial and error, really.
Yeah.
So I recommend it actually. I actually recommend Mactooth. Yeah, I mean, I paid full price for it in the store. Like if I wasn't using my store credit, it was like about £30. Probably maybe wait till it's a little cheaper because
sure.
For what you're getting, it's like it's very repetitive. Like it feels like the game's longer than it should be, but that's just my opinion anyway. Yeah, good game. I'm enjoying it, and I will report back when I do have the platinum in a future episode. And just quickly, other than that, I bought Wipeout Omega Collection because it was on sale on PSN. I got it for like £13, down from 30, which I thought was definitely a big enough price drop for me to grab it. I think I previously said, I'm not sure if on an episode or to a friend in real life, that I'm not actually wasn't too bothered about getting Wipeout Omega Collection because I played it a lot HD on PS3 back in the day, but yeah, for that price I had to go for it because I wanted to see what it looked like in like a 4K HDR.
How does it look
running
like?
It oh, it looks great. It looks fantastic. It's nice and clear and crisp, and everything's really smooth. And it's Wipeout. Like I don't really know what else to say. If you're not familiar with the series, it's like anti-gravity racing with weapons. Like it's kind of like a kart racer in terms of like weapons to slow your opponents down, but it's also got the speed and sort of ferocity of like, well, it's like F-Zero and Nintendo, or it's kind of like, I don't know, it's kind of got like a realism, like a real racing game, but it's like set in the future with hover vehicles. I just really like it. I didn't play any of the games prior to PS3. I may have played a demo on PS1 or something, but when PSN got hacked in 2011 and we all got given free games, I decided to pick that as my free game, or one of my free games.
That's what
I
I
just
did.
liked it.
I picked
liked
that,
it instantly.
I had 2 accounts actually, so I picked that and Infamous, and my other account I picked Ratchet and Clank, and like I actually can't remember what the other games were.
I can't remember off the top of my head, but I picked Wipeout and Infamous, and both games I really, really enjoyed, and I went on to enjoy like Infamous 2 as well when it was offered on. Was it offered on PS Plus? I don't remember if I ever bought it legit or got it through free for PlayStation Plus.
I never played Infamous and I got it, and then I played it as a result of that downtime, and then like 2 or 3 weeks later Infamous 2 was out and I went out and I bought it full price, so it definitely worked for me.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it really. That's all I've been playing, a bit of Wipeout and just casually playing Wipeout. I'm not really I have no intention on platinuming that game.
Win.
It's like
Platinum win.
No. It's like it's a little bit too skill intensive for me. I never platinumed it on PS3. I just played it just for fun, just between games, little casual race here or there, do a tournament or trophy.
Yeah,
trophy.
it's known as a bitch of a platinum as well, so I don't blame you.
Yeah, it's just to play when I fancy just a quick game of a racing game. I'm not really into racing games other than like kart games like Mario Kart and Wipeout. Really, I'm not into like the realistic like GT or Forza or F1 or anything like that. That's not really for me. But yeah, so that rounds up what we've been playing for this week's episode. So I guess we'll move on to the news, and I think I'll hand it more over to you now, Claire, because you've got a few things you want to talk about in regards to new releases and some news.
Yeah, well, there's a few trophy lists for new games that just as it coming out, so we have like our first look at it and we can give our opinion on it. One game that I think is going to be very, very popular, and I am really looking forward to getting it, even though I said earlier I wasn't going to get it at launch, but that's the Assassin's Creed game, Origins, the new one that's coming out. I do like Assassin's Creed. I'm not their biggest fan, but I still like playing the game. I don't think you play them at all, do you, Des? They're not your top game, no?
I'm not really a fan of Assassin's Creed. I've never played any of them. It's just nothing it's not really ever been on my radar, to be honest. Not saying they're bad games or I don't really fancy them. I don't know, they're just not for me.
I actually really like the gameplay, and I really like the historical context of a lot of them as well, so I think I'm just kind of naturally drawn towards that. Have you ever played them, Punish?
Yeah, I played Assassin's Creed 2, 3, and Brotherhood. That's Brotherhood also. And I enjoyed them. And like you said, I enjoy the historical background on it. Like you got to meet Da Vinci at a younger age, and then you have Machiavelli in there as well, and a couple other historical figures as you're making your way through the game.
Yeah, like I've been in Rome and in Florence, which is some of the cities that's based around as well. So it's nice to kind of get that feel of the actual real places that you're climbing in as well. But like as much as I love them, some of their games are trash as well, and I really hate them as well. So like it's kind of a balance. But this new one looks really, really good. I love the Egyptian setting. There's no tacked on terrible multiplayer, and of course this is the first Assassin's Creed game in quite some time. That before they took to like this yearly Call of Duty schedule with this horrible tacked on multiplayer, and it just completely.
I completely agree with you. It felt like the previous games were more just thrown together to get a new game out. They really didn't work on it with Assassin's Creed Origins. I'm really looking forward to it because it looks like they put some time and effort into it with the combat system, the story. I mean, everything.
Yeah, it's been the first one, and that's had a 2-year cycle now for ages, and they've only had the one team developed on it. There's no online components or anything like that, and it's a completely new setting. I'm really looking forward to it, but like I said, I'm not going to get it at launch or anything like that, but I have the trophy list. I have the trophy list.
Really getting the vibe from this Assassin's Creed that they're basically clean slate, just want to kind of start again in terms of like their approach to the game. Like they definitely got franchise fatigue, like bringing it out year after year after year, and I think then taking a break, and it just feels like a whole new approach for Assassin's Creed. They're definitely going bigger and bolder, but leaving out the parts, I guess, that have not really done too well over the years, like the multiplayer, as you say. But it looks good. It really does look good. I'm impressed, but it's, like I said, it's not really for me. But I'm really interested to see what long-time fans of the series think anyway, once it's all said and done.
Yeah, I mean, just pinpointing off of Assassin's Creed again. I mean, I had the special edition ordered. I'm really looking forward to actually playing it. All like I said before, all the other games I just believe were trash. Yeah. With the multiplayer, with the just thrown together. I mean, even the maps looked absolutely atrocious. So, I mean, from the gameplay I've watched, I've watched a couple of videos on YouTube where people got early copies. I'm really looking forward to just running around, exploring, learning the history, things that I enjoyed in 2 and 3.
The setting is massively interesting to me as well, but like you said, I'm so glad that they don't have any terrible tacked on co-op or multiplayer as well. It looks like a full-on single-player experience, which is exactly what I want out of those type of games. So I do have the trophy list here in front of me, and you'll be happy to know that it looks pretty easy. Now, there is a series first though. No Assassin's Creed before it had a difficulty. It was just Assassin's Creed, much the way like Grand Theft Auto is. You just play it, there's no difficulty settings or anything like that. But in this game there is a difficulty setting, and there is a trophy related to it. So just something to bear in mind when you're playing it. If you're used to the series not having it, well, it does have it now going forward. So we don't know how that's going to like affect combat and stuff like that, or if there's going to be any certain things you're gonna have to do, and only that playthrough as well. So we'll have to keep an eye out for
Is
it.
it correct too? There's going to be no 100% synchronization trophy.
Yeah, I don't see anything that represents 100% from what my knowledge and looking over it. Like, unless there's like, earn some item, and you can only get that item if you get 100%. That's unless the sneaky do it that way. But there's no trophy description that asks for 100%. No, there's stuff that asks for just the usual stuff. Go to all the locations, kill a certain amount of enemies a certain way using environments or weapons and stuff like that. And then a lot of story based stuff, mastering abilities, equipping legendary equipment. There's an interesting trophy here though called Witness Raining Bugs in the Desert. So
that sounds like maybe a random event or something.
Yeah, or some kind of phenomenon that you're gonna have to do.
I wonder if it's gonna be like a collectibles fest like previous games were. Is there anything in the trophies that maybe hint to that? Because I know because my girlfriend plays them. I'm not a fan, but my girlfriend's a big fan of them, and I've seen her play them in the past, and I've seen the maps with all the little icons all over it, and I just thought, oof, that seems like something they could do without.
There's you have to collect all the location or go to all the locations. Let me see, collect 12 stones or complete 12 stone circles, complete 15 underwater locations, tame a lion, tame animals. So I think there's a lot, I think there's a lot to do with it, and it looks really, really good, and it's full single player as well. So like I said, I am really, really interested. I'm not buying it at launch. I think I'll give it that, but if it gets a lot of hype and a lot of people say it's very, very good, it probably won't be long before I pick it up. Maybe maybe we'll be looking to be included in one of those PSN Christmas sales, the Xmas 12 days to Xmas or whatever that comes up. That's what I'm hoping, but I'm really looking forward to playing that game actually. In the news as well, another game that's just come out of beta and it's going to be released very, very soon is Gran Turismo Sport. And now I know you were saying, Daz, that you actually don't play races or anything like that. I'm
not really a fan.
I do play them, but I'm not too serious into them. What about you, Punish? What do you like on them?
Oh, I hate racing games with a passion. I do not play them.
Right, well, I'll give you guys my honest opinion on this then.
Looks like you've got a good back and forth going on here, Claire.
Right. Well, I really enjoyed Gran Turismo back in PlayStation 1 and the PlayStation 2 days. I really enjoyed them. They were a game series I always kind of fell back on. I just really, really enjoyed the kind of, like you said, with the Wipeout, you said you just want to stick it on and do a race or something like that. That was Gran Turismo for me. They're seriously hard games though. It's not an arcade racer like a Need for Speed, or kind of a half between the way Drive Club is. It's a half similar, half arcade racer. It's a pure driving simulator, so it's very, very hard, and the trophy list looks fucking ridiculous, to be honest. Gran Turismo 5 had a really hard trophy list because you had to get gold in everything. It's pretty much the same here with Gran Turismo Sport. I believe Gran Turismo 6 was a little bit easier. I think I've seen a lot more people achieve the platinum for that, but for example, some of the stuff that they're going to get you to do in Gran Turismo Sport here is match Ruben Barrichello's record of 322 Formula 1 race wins. For all we know, a Formula 1 race could take 4 or 5 hours in game, and you have to win 322 of them. You have to match Ayrton Senna's record of 65 pole positions as well. So kind of related to real life in game kind of stuff, What else? There's a lot of drift points, whatever the hell that is, and then of course there's gold for getting all the challenges, gold in all the races, the gold in the license plates, the circuit experiences, driving school. It's going to be a really, really tough platinum. So anyone from real serious fans of racing, I think it'll be a big good challenge for them. I'm definitely not going to go for it. I never have for any other Gran Turismo, and I don't think I will for this one either. Interestingly enough, actually, it does have PlayStation VR support as well, so that's pretty nifty. I'd probably like to test it out just to test the VR mode, but I don't think I'm going to be picking up and attempting the platinum on it, to be honest.
Did you try the Drive Club demo for your PSVR?
Yes, I only tried the demo, but I don't have the game or anything like that. I wouldn't be interested in
I
it.
gave the demo a go just out of pure interest because, as I said, I'm not really into racing, but thought, well, might as well give the demo for it a go. And no, I couldn't. I was even worse at it in VR than I am just on normal sort of camera outside the car. I was just all over the place.
Yeah, I can't drive inside a car in a game. Like, you know, when I play like Need for Speed or like Drive Club or any racing game like that, I can never do an in-car view because I can't do it, you know. So if you were to play VR, that's your default view. So I don't think I'd be any good at the game, to be honest. And to be honest, like from everything I've seen about this game, it's a proper driving simulator. So you need a wheel, to be honest, and a pedal and accelerator and stuff like that to get the proper experience out of it. I think probably make the trophies a lot easier.
Possibly.
It's not something I'm going to be going for though. But if you're a fan of racing, I think you're going to be very, very happy with it. It looks gorgeous though. I didn't play the beta myself, but I've seen a lot of screenshots put up on Twitter, and it looks fantastic. Not sure if you guys have seen it.
I've seen some. I think I've seen a few adverts for it or some footage of it here or there. But yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Like, I mean, those realistic racing games really push the hardware that they're on, like they have done for years, like even back to like PlayStation era. Sorry, I mean like the PS1 era. But yeah, I mean to look at them adverts, and it looks like sometimes it just looks like real footage of cars, like
Yeah,
that's been recorded. Like the lighting is crazy across like the metalwork, and you've got all the trees on either side. I mean, because of it's not like a big open world game with loads of NPCs walking around and loads of like dialogue or whatnot going on. I guess they can really tune the game. Or sorry, I should say they could really build the game to be like the visual fidelity of racing games to be superior to that of like most other games on the platform. Just I guess just because of that type of game.
for sure. Like I said, it's not something I'm going to be picking up though, because the amount of effort and skill required for the game is probably just beyond me. So I'm not going to go for it. Not the best racer out there.
Know your limits.
Yeah, definitely. And sometimes it's just not worth it. Like that's why I would be picking up Wipeout. I'd probably like to play it for like a few hours maybe, but I don't know. I'm just not gonna. There's a lot of other games to be playing, I think. So.
Okay. Is there anything else you want to talk about? Any other new releases or anything else in the news?
No, not too much. Only just that we went a little bit over the South Park trophy list, like I said last week. I'm going to get it by the time we speak next in the next podcast, so I hope to have a lot more info for you guys about South Park then next time. But besides from that, there's not too much else has been happening. Besides from that, news that seemed to be breaking just before we started this podcast, as you had mentioned, you seen it in a tweet here. Essentially, that's a pretty good thing to talk about. That IGN are taking over the Humble Bundle service.
Yeah, I saw that just a few minutes ago on Twitter that the IGN, like the sort of corporate side, the company itself, bought Humble Bundle, like the company Humble, and it seems to be that they don't seem to say in this. No real details of the deal were made in like official press release, but it just seems they're not really going to change anything. Is the main sort of quotes to take from the article? Just saying, one of the quote was from the VP of IGN. I don't have the name to hand right now, but he said something along the lines of if it ain't broke, don't fix it, sort of thing. So it seems they're just acquiring it and just carrying on running it and making money for charity. But that's for now. I mean, things change, but we'll see.
Yeah, for sure. For those who don't know, the Humble Bundle is basically a service where there seem to be an organization that have teamed up with like developers to offer a lot of different games from that developer's back catalog at like a choose your own price of level, and depending on how much you pay for it, what tier you activate to get like the games back. But the best thing about the Humble Bundle is that when you get to the very bottom, you can choose where the money goes to. So you can choose that 90% of it goes to a charity, or some goes to the dev as well. So like there's like a slider at the very end of it, and you can obviously like choose the amount to give as well, so you can choose more or the very bare minimum just to get the entire tier. Mostly it's probably been used by PC users, so fantastic discounts on a lot of different games. The Humble Bundle would get me a lot of different game codes for Steam and stuff like that. Really helped me build up my Steam library. But recently they started doing PlayStation stuff as well. They had a 2K bundle, PlayStation bundle recently, that had like stuff like the Darksiders games and a few other smaller platinums and stuff like that. So and like Destroy All Humans and all that kind of stuff. That's where I got those games from. It was the very first PlayStation Humble Bundle. I was hoping that if IGN are going to be taken over, you said that they're not going to change much, but I would hope that we would see a few more console stuff like that happen. Because I basically paid about €10 to get like the 2 Darksiders, the 2 Destroy All Humans, and then a rake of other games that I'm probably just never going to play either. So
I can't say that I personally have used any Humble bundles that they've offered in the past. I know of them, but as you said, they seem to be geared more towards, well, definitely geared more towards PC gamers. But yeah. I agree with what you said there. Like, I don't really have any interest in Humble Bundle either way, whatever this news was. But yeah, if they were to start offering, focusing a little bit more on consoles, then yeah, I'd definitely have a look.
Yeah,
for sure.
Especially when you get to choose, like when you give that tenner, like you can literally choose, okay, out of that €10, I want €9 of it to go to like a children's hospital or cancer research or something like that. And then if you if like Konami ever do anything, I'm gonna like write a message to them saying "fuck you guys," you know what I mean? So you can really stick up the finger to a group if you wanted to. But like, I think it's really, really good knowing that you're getting games for cheap. It's a legitimate way of doing it, and you're helping support a good cause as well. So I always felt good whenever I bought the PC stuff, and I really hope they do more console and PlayStation stuff. The only thing about the console side of things is though, because like I said, I did a lot of PC stuff. They in PC side of it, they give you individual codes. Like some of them, the code could just be DRM free, so it just launches as like a program on your computer. Sometimes the code is behind Steam, sometimes the code is behind Origin, etc. But for PlayStation, you actually only got one code, but you got individual codes for all the other games. So like there's many times where I had purchased a game and I already had it in the bundle, so I just gave it away on like Twitter and stuff like that. You could just give this code to somebody and they could just redeem it themselves. But when you bought it through the PlayStation version, they only give you one code for the entire like 14-15 games. So probably something to keep in mind. It's a little bit shitty when that, because I was expecting, like, I wanted to give away a few of those games, maybe in-house to our Discord members or on my Twitter or something like that, you know what I mean? But yeah, if you only get one code for all the games, then you can't do that, so it's a bit shit. But if you're doing it for yourself, it makes sense. So
that could be something that's on the business side though, that maybe platform holders don't want their games being or games being given away to other users. Maybe it can be done with individual codes, but maybe they chose not to.
Incidentally, I forgot to say that that PlayStation bundle, the only one that's ever happened before in the past, it was only limited to North American regions as well. Now I have a North American account, so I was able to buy it and purchase it and redeem it and stuff like that. So, but if I only had my EU account where I'm actually located, I wouldn't have been able to buy it. So, but I hope with IGN taking over, they're very, console minded, if you understand. So I'm hoping they'll kind of bring some of that aspect over, and it'll change, and we get some better deals out of it. Especially now that PlayStation 4 has been out for ages. I mean, some of the games that around at launch should be just given away at this stage, I think.
All right, okay. Well, if we're done with that segment, we should move on to our next segment then. Of course, it is Tricky Trophies. Now, Tricky Trophies is where we look back through our trophy collection and some of the most challenging, some of the most frustrating gameplay, or even stuff that's just been really boring, just to get a single trophy to lead to that eventual platinum. And I'll tell you what, Punish, why don't you lead us with Tricky Trophies? What's yours for this week?
All right, well, I went ahead and picked this one earlier today when I was going through my trophy list, and it's kind of funny because we're talking about racing games earlier. But I decided to pick the one from the most recent Ratchet and Clank game, which is Faster Than Speeding Amebot. And that was, you had to, the first race that comes on the hoverboard that comes up, you had to get the race under 1 minute and 30 seconds. Now, as I mentioned before, I hate racing games. I hate anything to do with racing. I hate time trials, anything to do with racing and time trials. And this one for me was just was a pain in the ass. It literally probably took me about 3 to 4 hours to actually
Vita or
complete it.
PS3?
On PS4. This is the big PS4 one.
Gotcha, yeah.
And it took me an hour and a half. It took me not an hour and a half, but it took me about 3 to 4 hours to get the trophy for that one. But then I got to the second track, and you had to do the same thing. It was a time trial. You had to get under a specific time, and it only took me 2 tries to get it on that one.
Yeah, the second track is definitely easier. This trophy is frustrating, but it's not as frustrating as it was in the original game. It was much harder in the original game because mainly because of the old controls. When I say old game, I mean the original PS2 game and also the HD collection. It was tricky getting those times for it. Wasn't. I think those were actually trophies in the HD collection, as well as skill points in the original game. But did you utilize any of the cheat menu in the PS4 version to help you out on the race?
No, I didn't. I didn't slow it down or anything like that. I played it just as the way it was.
Why? Why not? Why not slow it down and make it easier for yourself?
Because after I finally got the trophy, I went online. I was just browsing through. They were like, "Oh, you could have just slowed it down. It would have been a lot easier for you." I'm like, "Well, damn it."
Oh, you just didn't know at the time.
I didn't know about it at the time, exactly.
Oh, that's why it's always good to read trophy guides first. It would be my tip of the day.
Well, I try to be a purist sometimes. Like I'll read over the trophy list when a game comes out, and I try very, very hard to get the trophy without going off a guide or going off a video, just to give me that feeling of, you know what, I did earn that. I jumped the building and shot 6 people on the head at this precise time without basing it off of a guide. Same thing with I'll go back to like the Persona series as I was talking about earlier. I'm trying to platinum that trophy without doing the day by day guide that's all over the internet right now. So,
sure, yeah, I absolutely get that. When I before a big game or whatever game, I read a trophy guide, I scan over it, I avoid spoilers, which are usually like more towards the bottom of trophy guides or what have you. But I like to read requirements for trophies because they stick in my mind. So when I reach a certain point in the game, I'm not talking about, oh, you will get this trophy at exactly, best place to get this is chapter X at point Y. I just mean, if I know what a trophy requirement is in the back of my mind, I will try and get it naturally. I'll know the requirements. So just say, for example, I'll kill 6 enemies in slow-mo, like just in a pretend game here. So I'll know at some point I need to kill 6 enemies in slow-mo. So when I get into a big fight, I'll think, oh, here we go. Here's an opportunity where I can have a go at this trophy. Kick in slow-mo, try and kill 6 people in one slow-mo. You see what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, I just did that with Mafia 3.
Right, exactly.
If I have it in my mind and I know it, then I will try to find the part myself. I won't follow the guide exactly to the letter. I just need a rough guide to know what to do for that trophy, and then I will look for it. But actually, I'm pretty sure I didn't read up the slow-mo bit. I'm sure someone actually suggested that to me on Twitter. But yeah, it makes loads of sense, and you can really cut the corners off some of those jumps in slow-mo. But the second race is much easier because it has a shortcut.
The shortcut
rings.
Yeah, exactly. The shortcut was made it so much easier. I mean, I found the shortcut on my own, and then I missed the time probably by like 10 seconds, and then on the second go, I got it right away. My biggest problem on the first race was hitting the boost points and then actually turning into those jumps. I mean, if you remember it, is turning into the jumps and making sure you hit the correct amount of barrels, and then making sure you're constantly accelerating so you can cut down on your time. And I ended up hitting it at like 128 finally. And after that, I was like, oh, thank God, I can finally continue on and finish the game.
Yeah, absolutely. Could sympathise with you on that. Okay, well, I'll go next for my tricky trophy. This is from a game which I think, Claire, you don't like. I can't recall for exactly, but this is from Grim Fandango. This is... I'm pretty sure you don't like this game very much, do you?
I hate it, yes. The only platinum I regret. I hate it.
No, that's funny. I really like this game. I thought it was real good. I did use a guide, though, because the trophies are incredibly missable.
I couldn't even fucking Oh, the game was so frustrating even following the fucking guide, man. Like, the guide was telling me to do something and I was doing it and it wouldn't work, like, and I hate that game, man. I hate it.
Well,
I
anyway,
have it on my
that's.
backlog.
Nah, I hate that game.
Don't let Claire put you off. It's a decent game. Even if you use a guide, you can have a good time with it. But I played it on PS Vita. Now, this trophy is called The Right Way, and the description is play the whole game with tank controls, and basically it's like play it the old-fashioned way with like the D-pad. Use where up makes your character move forward, but the left and right makes their body rotate, like classic Resident Evil.
Like classic Resident Evil. I was just about to say that. Yep.
Yeah. Now that wouldn't be tricky, particularly on PS4, but it's actually PS Vita where the issue lies. And now with PS Vita, you can control the main character in the game with the touchscreen by kind of like tapping the screen and holding, and he will move in that direction. Now, what made this not tricky, but something to be aware of, this is probably one of the least trickiest difficult trophies I've mentioned in the tricky trophy segment. But basically, you just got to make sure you do not touch the Vita screen like at all during the gameplay experience, like whilst you're playing the game. So I had to keep my hands well away from the screen and just use the D-pad, because if you touch the screen, I believe it voids the trophy because you're not using the traditional D-pad way. So, yeah, again, not particularly tricky, but just something that I had to keep in the back of my mind the entire time. And the trophy doesn't pop until like the end, like the very end. So this game was not short either. It was about 6 to maybe 8 hours. It was pretty lengthy game, even with a guide. So to go all that time and then like your thumb may have slipped at one point when you didn't even notice, putting the Vita down or something, and you wouldn't even get the trophy. But luckily I did. Luckily I didn't touch the screen once and I got the trophy. So Grim Fandango, I also recommend it. It is an easy platinum for sure. Just follow a guide if you want to do it in one go with no mistakes.
I disagree with that.
Okay, well, it depends on the
Not
guide
easy
you're
platinum.
reading.
Fuck the guide, man. I hate that game. Like,
It
seriously.
depends on the guide, though. The guide might not have been wrong, because the guide I used, I got all the trophies exactly where they said they were going to pop. So you might have just had a bad guide or an out-of-date guide or something.
Yeah, it's just, I don't know. I just really, really did not like that game.
Because I've had that before, just to go off on a really quick tangent. Guides, like some guides are written really well. Others can be really vague at sometimes, or describe something wrong, or describe something how you wouldn't describe it yourself. So it takes a little while for it to click in your mind. So when you're finding guides out there, sometimes you can read like a sentence like 10 times and you just won't understand what you have to do in the game. So that's something to think about.
Sure,
yeah. So Claire, your tricky trophy for this week.
Yeah, this tricky trophy gave me a good bit of trouble. It's in a VR game. It's the Farpoint VR game. That's a pretty hard platinum. I don't have it. There's not many VR platinums I have, but the Farpoint is a VR gun game, and yeah, I actually have the gun for it, like the VR PlayStation gun.
It's the aim controller, isn't it? It looks like a kind of white outline of a gun with a ping pong at the end, if anyone who's not seen one before.
Yeah, it's really fucking cool, man. It's a fantastic accessory. Really immersive, and it's just the responsiveness in game, especially with Farpoint, is fantastic. But like it's a hard game, and the trophy list is really, really hard as well. But one of the hard trophies in it I actually managed to do, just by pure coincidence. But like, it's the kind of thing where you'd have to know about the trophy and then go after it and then get lucky rather than just coincidence. Like, you wouldn't get it through normal gameplay whatsoever. And the trophy is basically for it's called Skewered, and it's for killing 3 targets with 1 precision rifle shot. So it's very hard to ever see 3 enemies line up in a row, you know. And because you're in VR mode, you pretty much have to do it with your head, so you know what I mean. And because since you have the gun, you have to actually look down the sight, you know what I mean. Like, you have to move your head with the VR helmet down to the gun itself and look down the gun sight to get the precision rifle. So there's a lot of physicality related to it, and it's a lot of kind of mental strain on your eyes. And then, like I said, there was very, very few situations where there's going to be 3 enemies lined up in the same row that will survive, or will not, like, one of them will take absorbed like the bullet or halfway through or something like that, you know what I mean? So it's a crazy, crazy tricky trophy. I only really got it because I knew about it and I was trying to go after it because I did want the platinum at one stage, and I spent a lot of time getting it. But there's like only one part in the game where like if some enemies line up for like a split second, where there's like 3 of them that you can take out, and you have to like utilize that 1 second. But
see, that's kind of going on what I just said a minute ago about reading trophies. With it in the back of your mind, you know where to look for it, right?
yeah, you'd never ever get that at like just true normal gameplay, like, because like I said, the window of opportunity is only open for a split second with those 3 enemies. Even still, it's really, really hard to get the shot in. It's all the physicality about it, because you have to actually look and aim down a gun in VR mode, and the enemies could just still survive the shots and stuff like that as well, you know. It's just all around really, really hard. But like, yeah, like you said, like it's something that I finished the game, I realized there was a trophy about it, and then I had to like keep it in my mind as I was playing it, because there's so very little people playing it, so there's no guides, there's no tips or anything like that. So I really kind of figured that out.
Yeah, that's true. With like PSVR for sure. Like there are, when a game comes out, even if it's been out a few weeks, there's like no guides for it on PSN, PS trophies, or anywhere really, or Exophase or Power Picks or anything like that. It's hard to find trophy guides for it, so you have to either try and find a really obscure YouTube video, or you might get lucky and a guide has been made, you know.
Well, unless it's like that type of VR game is also available on other VR platinums, you will get lucky, because like maybe someone on PC or Steam or some kind of Steam discussion forums. I know I've ended up a few times in there as well. But you're right, if it's anything to do with like a PlayStation only thing, you'd never get any kind of information on it, really.
Just on a quick topic just about trophy lists for PSVR, most of them are pretty crap, to be honest. Like really, really tiny trophy lists with no platinums and just like barely any golds or silvers. There's been loads of like little PSVR games where I've looked at and thought, you know, I could definitely, that game looks pretty interesting. If it had a platinum, I'd definitely like take a chance on it. But there's plenty, I'd say like such a slim percentage of PSVR games have actual platinum trophies. Like they're good games out there without platinum trophies, obviously. That's like, let's just get that out there first. But for like people like us who are trophy hunters, that's the added bonus of also playing a decent game as well, getting a platinum at the end of it. So there's good games on PSVR without platinums, like the Psychonauts, Rhombus of Ruin. I really like that game, really short game, but I really think it could have had a platinum trophy because it had the potential to have more. Like there was plenty to do in it. It just, there weren't any trophies for certain things you do in the game, so wasted opportunities like that.
I can confirm that as far as PlayStation like peripherals or accessories go, the Vita is a treasure trove and a mine of platinums and trophies, but PlayStation VR is not it's not good for trophy hunting whatsoever, and there's not kind of any boost to it. There's not anything. If anything, it'll actually only really take you away from trophy hunting. So there's no, as you have a trophy hunter, like I would definitely recommend a Vita to somebody who's a trophy hunter, but I probably wouldn't recommend PSVR unless they were after that VR experience. Because if they were say to me like, oh, how's the VR, is there many easy games to play for it? Like you said, Daz, I would say no. Most of the easy games don't have trophies. Don't have platinum trophies, sorry. And then the games that do have platinum trophies, they're really fucking hard. You know, like Farpoint is very, very hard. Super Hot is very hard. They're all really physical games that take ages, and like it's the physicalness about me. Like sometimes after a tired day, it's a lot of mental strain, I think, to do VR. And like
on the topic of PSVR, it's actually 1 year old today, I believe.
Oh really?
Yeah, it's 1 year old.
Yeah, that's the reason they had the sale on the PlayStation Store, I believe, is because of the 1 year anniversary.
Yeah, sale on a North American store, not in the EU store, though. Fuck's sake.
Oh, okay, sorry.
No, sorry.
But saying that though, they usually got quite a few PSVR games on sale regularly on the EU store. That's how I pick them up, because I don't really buy them at launch because some of them are a little bit pricey, and again, sometimes I don't fancy playing VR at that time. But most of the games I've got on VR I've actually picked up at a discounted price. But It seemed that well, they say it's doing well according to the article here I'm reading on the
A
PlayStation
million.
blog.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're just saying that they're basically just summing up here. They seem pretty positive for it, and more than 60 new PSVR games will launch through the end of 2017 and into the beginning of 2018 for it. And it says they just list a few here: Skyrim VR, Bravo Team, Impatient.
Yeah, some really good games coming out, but I hope that we're actually going to have like a PlayStation VR, like a bigger segment in a podcast coming up soon about PlayStation VR, because a lot of us actually do have PlayStation VR here, so we can give our thoughts on it as well. You know, I think it's a very good topic to maybe cover soon enough, what we think about it in an honest way. So hopefully that'll come to a podcast soon enough.
Sounds good.
Awesome.
Okay, cool. Well, that's the tricky trophy section done and dusted then. So, Claire, do you have anything, or Punisher, have anything you want to talk about Discord? Anything about the leaderboards, for example?
No, nothing. I mean, with everybody getting their. I wanted to point this out. With everybody getting their Destiny platinums, we're definitely seeing a lot more platinums being posted in the community trophy challenge. And then also, I'll be updating. I'll be putting out an update here shortly on the leaderboards on where everybody's at, and I'm going to be doing that on a weekly basis now. So I'll be looking at like Friday, Saturday to be seeing the new numbers posted up. That way, you guys can see where you're at mid-month. You know, right before the end of the month, so on and so forth.
Yeah, sounds great. And for those who don't know, Punish here has been made one of the community organisers now, so he's actually going to be taking over the community trophy challenge leaderboard that we have going. So it's a big undertaking. We really appreciate it, but he's definitely the right person for a job. He's going to get it done. Like you said,
I'm honored, guys. Thank you.
No problem.
No, thank you for taking the effort of like gathering up all the data and all the screenshots to create the leaderboard. It's always good to see the leaderboard.
Yeah.
Like, I'm rarely near the top anyway, but it's always really good to see everyone fall in line and
for sure
get ranked up.
The leaderboard is a really important part of the Discord server as a whole as well. So it's good to finally get someone dedicated to it. Also, like it's really beneficial because the way it has been before. Just wanted to explain it was that. DK, he managed the leaderboard, but he kind of constantly kept it up to date every week, and a lot of people really enjoyed going into the channel, going to the pinned messages and seeing, okay, you know, Shingo Bingo's on like 10 platinums, but I'm going to beat him, you know, I'm on 9 platinums, so there was a little bit of a competition there. We always definitely don't encourage trophy burnouts or anything like that, and it's not really a competition at the very end of the day, you know what I mean? It's more of a community aspect of it, but it's really cool to just be able to log on and see the numbers build up throughout the month, you know, as it goes, because it's much better than just getting it all landed on the entire server at the very end of the month. So I'm really looking forward to seeing the leaderboard being updated weekly, and by yourself as well, and for you appearing more on some of these podcasts and stuff like that as well. So.
Oh, thank you.
Cool. All right. Well, if there's nothing else to add more to the sort of Discord update section podcast, I guess we can roll out the outros.
Certainly
Sound good?
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Well, first of all, thank you for listening, and thank you for all the positive feedback. And please leave us reviews on iTunes, and also please leave some feedback on our YouTube channel as well. Likes, subscribes, the usual stuff, comments, feedback. Also follow the Trophy Trust on Twitter as well, at the Trophy Trust. Pretty simple, pretty easy to find. And also individually, where you can find us. Claire, where can people find you?
I'll be on Twitter at Claire88Gaming.
And Punish, where people find you?
I'll be on Twitter. You can follow me at Staff Sergeant Punish.
And you can find me on Twitter at the Dazio. You've been listening to the Trophy Trust podcast. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for downloading. And keep hunting those trophies. Bye.
Happy hunting, guys.
Happy hunting, guys. See ya.